Now the nav bar, I kind of gave you a break on this. Normally you wouldn't want to do two gradients on top of each other. It's kind of crappy, but I thought I'd give you a shortcut. I can use the same background gradient in my nav that I do with the body. So to do that, all I have to do is go back to my style sheet. I'm going to go ahead and put in nav like this, and I'm going to copy and paste all that same background in there so that now the nav has the same background as the body. You can also do a different gradient by using the CSS3 link. Also with the nav, the text is going to be centered aligned. So what I'm going to do to accomplish that is I'm going to do the text align center semicolon, and that will align my text to the center. Now notice I did put the text in there. I just copied and pasted it from Illustrator, and I turned them into list items. By the way, don't ignore this. And my list items here look like that. So when I copied and pasted them out of Illustrator, I took out of those pipes because I'm going to do them within the list item here. And the way I do that is I'm going to go ahead and add a new style here, and that's going to be nav li. First of all, I'm going to do nav li display inline. I have to look at this in the browser. And so I have nav li display inline, and then you'll see here that now I have the links there. Now I would also add an href. Since I'm not really linking anywhere, I'm just going to put a pound sign in there and close the a tag like that. And so now I have a tags on all of these. These now are styled via links, so as you can tell, it's going to now go to a blue underline. So I have to style via the a tag. So I'm going to do a nav a style text decoration none. That gets rid of the underline. Font color. And I believe we were using black. And font size. And we'll probably say like 2 M's. That may change. Yeah, getting pretty close. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is this. I usually use the nav li, so I'm going to add to that. I'm going to do border, and we'll do border right. And then I'll do solid 1 pixel black. What that does is that now gives you those little pipes on the side there. I might want to put in a little padding for the li2 to kind of So actually I was going to put padding on the li, but what I did do instead is put a margin on the A style, nav A, margin 0 for top and bottom, 10 pixels for left and right. And that will now give you this look. Now, one problem I have, if I select this, you may notice that there is a space in between these two right here, and that's always caused by the UL. So let me show this to you. I actually didn't save that. So if I hover over this, you'll see that yellow line is the margin for the UL. So to get rid of that, you got to take the UL margin out. It's kind of hard to determine that because you think it's either the A or the LI. Now if I look at this, I now have the borders for the A tag across. That's created by the border of the in the LI. So that looks like border hyphen right solid 1 pixel black. Now your challenge is to figure out how to get rid of that last pipe. You can play with margin right, margin left, however it works best for you. You might actually want to try margin left. Let me do that instead. Or sorry, I say margin, I meant border. So now I'm going to have this start here. See if you can't get rid of this one there. Okay, so the next thing I've done is I've copied and pasted all the body copy into Dreamweaver. And the first one is an H2 because that's going to be my subheader. Then the rest of it is going to be in paragraphs. Now, got a couple of things. The H2 has to be Titilium Web. That's fairly easy to deal with. I'm just going to add a style H2, and then I'm just going to go up here to my H1 tag and copy and paste the whole font family thing here. So now it's Titilium Web. One thing I didn't do earlier that you may find that you need to do, I didn't seem to need it because I just said H1 and it came out automatically to 900 weight, is you might want to do at the very end of this, font hyphen weight 400, and that will give it more of that. That actually looks a little small there, so I may just take that out altogether. Okay, I'll leave it like that. Now the next thing I'm going to do, and don't forget, I'm not going to show how to do this because I got to give you some challenges here. Don't forget that the H2 has to have less space than what I'm showing here. So don't forget those elements. I'm not going to do that for this tutorial. But what I am going to do next is I'm going to constrain the article to being width 75%. And then I'm also going to add some padding in there. And because I know by adding padding, and then when I put my aside element in there, and I'm going to say width is 25%, and I'm not going to put padding in for that, but I am going to put in this. Don't forget this whole bit, business box. Well, I'll just show you what happens so we can talk about that. Next thing in the aside is I'm going to add the image. Okay, so I added the image. That's image source equals images ostrich JPEG because I've got it in the images folder. Now for this, the width is going to be 100%. That means it's going to be the size of whatever container it's in, which is the aside, which is 25%. To make it constrained proportionately, you want to put height equals auto. All right. Now you may notice I have a little bit of a warning here because I'm missing the alt tag. So do not forget that. Alt, and then, oops, I'll just get equals, and I'll just say ostrich image. All right, so it describes what it is for screen readers and so forth. Now if I look at my version here, you'll see that I have not exactly what I wanted. Now if I went to my style for my article and I had the padding 10 pixels, that's what's happening is that the 10 pixels is blowing out the 75%, so it's actually 75% plus 20 pixels. So what I'm going to do now is the fix, which is box sizing border box. And I'm going to put that on both just to be on the safe side, like that. And then now if I, oops, make sure I save this. And of course you got to make sure that you put a float left on both of those as well before they'll line up side by side like that. So save that, go back to my design, and boom, there you go. I'm getting real close there. I think I also had a white background for the article. Now here's what I'm going to do, two things next, because the next problem, my copyright, and I'll just go ahead and put that in my footer. And that's copyright. And then that's the sign is ampersand copy. And then I'll do 2018. Now for this, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do my footer, background color, where is it, background color, white, and I'm going to just put a slight padding in there, maybe 2 pixels, so it gives me a little space in there. Now I'm also going to put a white, well, I'm going to wait for just a second, and then when I do this, see what happens to my copyright is it goes somewhere where I don't want it to be, and that is because I've got the floats on these two elements right here. By the way, the white is taking up all this space. So to fix that is I've already got my section encapsulating the aside and the article. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give section, and then I'm just going to say overflow. This makes no sense. Let me get that overflow auto. And that will fix that problem. And then also, because this is encompassing that whole area, I'm just going to say background color is white. Go back here. And now you can see that my copyright is down at the bottom here where I wanted it to be. Line up here. I did have a little bit of a border around there. If you want to put that in, that's fine. If you don't, border is very simple. In my article, you could do something like this: border colon. We'll do 1 pixel solid black, or maybe even like gray. I don't know if gray is in there. Let me do a color picker. I want like a light gray so it's not quite so bad. And voila, there's my border. Notice that my image here, how it resizes, so that can be a little problematic with that border there. So that's up to you if you want to do that. Might want to put a border around that too. But anyway, that gives you kind of, you could put a border around the footer, but that should give you enough to go on. And I'm getting pretty close there. So I didn't get this perfectly aligned, and there's, you know, the bold here, the space between the H2 and the P, maybe a little padding in your nav. I'll leave that up to you, but that should give you enough to go on for this. Last thing though,